So it's very hard dating. So think about how hard it is dating, and then put a layer of the fact that we're not having sex on top of it. So I think that's very hard. Yeah, dating is a trip. So I don't know, guys. What do you think, Jocelyn?
I I feel you. Honestly, I have the same kind of battle. Like some days I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna hold off because I've done it for so long. I made this commitment for so long. And then other times I'm in my feelings and I'm like, I just do it. I mean, whatever. But a lot of my decision, as I mentioned earlier, does is faith driven. So I do have to think like, okay, Lord, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna have to like repent. I'm gonna feel bad for having sex. So there's a couple more layers, for
Mm-hmm.
me. And then also I feel like, what happens when I don't want to stop? Or if I have it the first time, because obviously I don't know, but this is what we hear. The first time is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's painful. People say it's painful. It's not comfortable. You got to learn the person. Blah blah. So I'm not going to do it one time and be done. I'm going to do it once.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be great, so I'm going to do it again to keep trying. And then you do that, so you get to a point where you like it and you enjoy it. And then by the time I like it, I'm not going to want to stop. So then it's like,
And
or
then
if
what
I
if I
do,
want to try somebody else?
yeah,
The slippery
and then if I
slope.
do, and then if I do stop, then it's like a battle with me having started, and now I'm stopping. So it's just like, do I want to open this Pandora's box of unknowns? I
Mm.
could I could do it once, and it'd be the worst experience, and that could completely turn me off. And like, no, okay, I'm gonna wait. Or I could do it once, and it'd be somewhat enjoyable, and I want to keep trying, and then I'm gonna want to keep going because again, our bodies want it. Like it's natural. This is what
Mm-hmm.
God wants us to do. You know, I just wish God would like not let me have these feelings until I got married. Like I wish I didn't know what these feelings meant until you got married, and then the night of your marriage, it's like, oh, what's that? I never felt that before. And then it's just like an explosion. Like that's how I wish my life was.
And then another thing is too, we can get married and it be like not the best experience, or you're 10 years into your marriage and you're like, dang, I should have tried John back in the day, because
Well, I hope at that point we would have. I'm hoping that that won't happen. I'm hoping like, okay, God, now I made a pact with you,
mm-hmm.
and part of that means you're gonna have to make it good for me. Okay, now I don't waited my Jesus years. Okay, I'm walking into my Jesus year right now.
Mm-hmm.
33 now. I don't waited. Now you're gonna have to make sure it's pleasurable at all times.
Give me
Period.
something for my troubles.
Give me something, Lord. Now, if you give me a situation and it ain't right now, I'm gonna have some problems. Now I'm gonna be mad. Okay. And then I worry about me too. Like, what if you know, I don't know everything,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you know? Makes you nervous about, I mean, I feel like I would be open and with my husband and exploratory and willing to learn all those things that women, will be willing to do. Um, but doesn't mean it'll be good. I mean, I'm willing to go outside and learn how to, you know, shoot a gun. Doesn't mean I'm good at doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Willing to go in the kitchen and fry some fish doesn't mean I'm good. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
I
You ever
mean,
worry about that?
with everything, it takes time, it takes practice, and stuff like that. So you may not be good, whatever, whenever you start, but I think Ebony said it earlier. Like you have to learn your partner. You
Right.
have to learn what they like, what they don't like. You got to know what the right seasoning is for the fried fish. You're not gonna throw it out there in that pan the first time and it be good. You might not even heat the oil up right.
Right.
So I think that's one thing that you can kind of like think about like, okay, I'm
Positive.
not going to be perfect in the beginning, but no one is. Even if you are having sex, if you're having sex with one partner and then you go to another partner 10 years later or 3 years later or however, it's a whole different person. So
Right.
they may not like anything you've ever done with the person before them.
Right.
So you're restarting with every single person in the same way that a
True.
virgin would be starting with their whoever they're with.
Yep.
So you can
And
take that little
then
bit of stress off your back because
That's
everybody's
true.
in the same way because they don't know you either.
Facts.
will help us with this, Sierra. How long is too long to wait? Because we've been waiting.
I mean, I don't
I'm
think there's
33. You don't think there's a, so if I'm 40, you don't think that girl,
no. If you have a reason for whatever you want to do with your body, I don't think there's ever too long for it. So, like, if you decide I want to die at 79 years old and never ever have sex, then I'm not gonna be like, girl, just go try it. I would never tell anybody to do something that they really genuinely have a aversion to, that they just really don't want to do. So I couldn't even give you no, I wouldn't even give you anything like a too long, but I may say like, okay, you're brushing this person off who could be the perfect person for you, who could be your husband, and then you could have already had that experience and be married with that man, but your standards are too high, or you're pushing back over something little that doesn't mean anything, and you're letting your relationship slip through your fingers. I may say that, but I'm not gonna be like, girl, go have sex, just go do it. I had people tell me that, and in high school, they were like, yeah, man, let me tell you what it's like. I was like, what's it like? Because, you know, I know, like, she's like, something about the wall. All I remember her saying is like, the walls feel everything. And I'm like, that sounds very descriptive. Okay. Okay.
Right.
But they never told me to go do it. They were just telling me what they had experienced. And I felt like, dang, am I the only one around here ain't did nothing yet? Like,
Right.
what?
Right.
But you know, they never pressured me. And I think a real friendship shouldn't look at you like, oh, you need to do it by a certain date
Right.
or a certain age, or you look whack, you know, you corny.
Yeah.
that's fair. That's true.
So do you think, Sierra, that that's the reason why we're single? Like we haven't met anyone? Do you think that's a factor?
I'm single.
Honestly.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say no because I'm single. But I think there is whole communities of people who are doing this, men and women. So I don't think that abstaining is that, and either virgin or abstaining after already doing it, like it doesn't matter. If you're saying you're not going to do it at one point, then you're part of that community too, and they're out there. So I don't think that there's like a lack of appreciation for that lifestyle. And there's other people that want to do the same lifestyle and are practicing it right now, and I just think people aren't able to connect right now. As much social media that we have, it's like there's so much other things on our mind that we're not as pressed for dating. We're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to build this business, I want to get this new job, I want to get this education. They're not looking at each other right now like, oh, let me date. They're focused on other things. So I personally don't think that it's holding you guys back, because I see it's out there. So
So I do y'all know the cruise season, that podcast?
the cruise
No.
season now.
So I will share I actually just shared one of their videos on my story, but I shared.
Unless maybe I know it from your story. Maybe you posted something one time.
Yeah, so I will post them like periodically. But they take questions. So they have like a segment where they take questions. So I actually sit a question to them. And I was telling them like, hey, like who I am, like I'm waiting until marriage to have sex. I was like, just like I'm a blah blah, just like little stuff. So I asked him, I said, do you feel like this is why I'm still single? Because I'm not having sex. And literally, as soon as he finished the question, everybody was like, yep, that's it. That's why. So they obviously they didn't identify who I was, but I knew I asked the question. But literally, when he asked the question, all the guys on the panel, it's four of them, they were just like, yep, that's exactly why. Like, if you're not giving it up, that's why you're single. It has nothing
But are
to do with anything else.
those are men who are having sex?
One's married, no, two are married, and then two are single. But yes, they're all having sex. Yes.
So yeah, you've got to go to the community that's not. You can't ask somebody who's doing it, because they've done, like you said, the slippery slope. Once you do it one time, you're gonna want to do it with all the time and with your mate whenever you get a chance. But if you were to ask the same community of people, of hundreds and thousands of people who aren't having sex, that same exact question, I don't think you would get the same answer, because they have a different mindset.
So yeah, and I would think that would be the case too, because we do share the same thing. I think it's just general, and that I haven't run into a person that's in that community. So all the people that I run into, and I'm not saying that they're not out there, because they are out there. I just don't know where they are. But the people that I do run into, they just never are a part of our community. So it's like I do wonder, like, is this why I'm not with anyone? Like, I've never been the one to say like, oh, I'm ugly, I'm not attracted, because at the end of the day, I'm attracted to someone. I may not be attracted to everybody, you know
Girl,
what I'm
you
saying?
pretty. You
But
pretty
I,
girl.
Right.
thank you. But everybody's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. So it really wasn't necessarily like my look, so to speak. I mean, you like what you like, but I always wondered, like, is it because I'm not having sex? Because that tends to be that common denominator in all, because all the guys, not like all, I had like a plethora of guys, but the guys that I've entertained are like, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're cool, you're this, blah, 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 blah. But we never could go any further. And then this one guy ends up getting another girl pregnant. So y'all were having sex. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? But you were having sex. And then you stopped talking to me, but then you talk to somebody else, and now you all are together. And then I asked, because I have no problem asking. And it's like, well, yeah, because we are having sex. So it's like, let me find the community of people who want to win.
I'm gonna send
And
you
then
some. I'm gonna send you some things. I'm gonna
Send me
DM you.
some, sis.
I got you.
And then are they decent, right? Because I don't know that many people. I don't know anybody other than Jocelyn. That's like my last friend that I can have a conversation with about waiting, right? I had a friend recently. He was telling me about this guy, and I was telling Sierra this, and he was like, "Come meet this guy, blah blah blah." And I never met the guy, but he was saying when I got there, he was like, "Well, if you was a hoe, I would tell you to talk to the guy, but since you're not, don't worry about it." Like, so basically, like the guy was looking for somebody to sleep with him, or maybe only would date somebody who would sleep with him, which is fine. It's just not something that I'm gonna just do because that's what you want, right?
Right. I feel like like I was saying, like, I want to wait till I'm married, but I could be in love, and the person I know I could be with him forever, and I knew he's the one, and I could just say, you know what, I'm willing to do that. So it is kind of that whole like, I don't want to feel like I have to do it because that's just what you do in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you shouldn't have to not want to do it because that's just what I do. So
Right.
we gotta be in, like you said, we have to have like-minded people. And then if we both together are like, I know we're gonna be together and we love each other and this is what we want to do, we make the decision together, then that's different. But
So how would you feel being with a guy who he is, because I do know some guys who are abstaining now. They may not be virgins, but they are not having sex at all now. Would that be any issue for you?
no.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I don't have to have a person. I don't have to have a virgin. Mm-mm. Just
Okay.
as long as all that chocolate and ain't coming and rubbing out on me, and then they
That chocolate, yes. Oh, you funny.
chocolate.
That's what I used to be. I used to call my ex that chocolate because he was just so dog. But even him, like we didn't kiss, we didn't do anything for a long time. Like that was his thing. He came to me with that. I was like, this is perfect. I don't have to be the one to pump the brakes. We went on our first trip to Virginia Beach. We got 2 separate rooms.
I love it.
You stay in your room, I stay in. I was like, this is a whole new thing. Like, and it felt good because you didn't have to be the one to be like, no, let's not do this. Let's not, do that. He came with it. And I just met him out in the street. So I wasn't even looking for no community of people. He just kind of found me. So they out there somewhere, but I will send you some things. But as we're talking about sex and I'm thinking about the power of sex and how it can change the dynamics of a relationship. This is kind of going to shift it a little bit because it's not going to be about abstinence, of course, but I'm watching reality TV shows, right? And there's this girl on this show. Her name is Paige.
Yes. Speak on this.
We're going to talk just like not even
my face about Paige.
Not even but 5 minutes about Paige.
Okay, we can talk about Paige. But
the thing about it is her new husband has told her since day one that he's not attracted to her. However, he continues to have sex with her. And she continues to give her body to this man. I don't know. And I know she's extremely religious. And part of the reason why she's staying in this marriage with him, or so far, is that, because I haven't seen the last episode, but so far is because of her religious beliefs in that, we've created this covenant. We're going to be together. Basically, I'm his wife. If he wants my body, I'm going to give it to him. Like, it's crazy. To me, it sounds like a self-esteem issue and not loving your body, loving yourself, and, everything like that. What are your guys' thoughts on how sex has become in this world now for people a way to control other people, or a way for someone to feel vulnerable and feel as though, hey, if I want to keep this person, the only thing I have, because he told me I'm ugly, is to let him penetrate or do whatever he wants to do with my body. What do you guys think about that?
Can I go first? Have you guys listened to Jasmine Sullivan's album? She has this album that's called Hotels. But in one of the songs, someone talks about the same thing, like knowing that this relationship is probably not going to work out, but controlling that other person with, he might not want me, but I know he wants it, so he's going to keep coming back for it. So I think that we women are smart, and we women can manipulate and control and do that to men. I don't think that's something we should do. I think that Paige does have low self-esteem issues. I don't like the fact that she hides behind the Christianity part of it, because you were already having sex prior to marriage. You were already living with a guy who had a kid and all this other stuff. So I don't like her taking bits and pieces of it to fit her narrative at that point in time. So I think that she's using it to stay in this marriage with Chris, because she simply probably is tired of being alone at this point, wants to be married, and probably likes him, right? Likes the way he looks, knows that they fit well on paper. But at the same time, do you do it at a detriment to yourself, where he says, I am not attracted to you. I do not want you. And she keeps going. And then I don't know if you watched the last episode, but on it, he said, well, I don't really know why we're meeting, because nothing has changed for me. And one of them kind of said, well, let's start over. I don't remember who, but then they was like, she said it. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
makes perfect sense.
She actually asked him, why are we meeting if nothing was going to change? Because he asked her to meet. He asked him to meet. And so then when they got together, then he basically didn't say anything different. So then she did ask, like, okay, well, what's the purpose of us being here? And then after that, he asks, okay, what do you want, Paige? Like, what is it that you want from this? And then that's when she says, I want you to give us a try. And I'm like, you're absolutely right, both of y'all. 100%. It's a self-esteem issue.
You know what? Stick together, be together, because both of y'all at this point warrant each other. You stay together.
It's a self-esteem issue with her, and I think that sex is a powerful tool, and it can be used to definitely manipulate a person for what you want. Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, we can go biblical days, or we can just think of reality, like across the board. It's a tool that is a desire tool, and people want it, and you can move things with that. So I think Chris, no offense to my men out here, because I love my men, definitely. He was being a man. Period. Like, it's just all there is to it. You got a female right next to you in your bed. And Paige, even though, sorry, sis, the hair may not have been on, okay, the hair, not it. But Paige is a pretty girl. She got a nice body. You know what I mean? So
and you said her hair was not it?
Sis, that wedding, I don't know who did her weave.
I didn't see the wedding.
Her hair was bad, and I was trying to,
Listen, her hair was bad. And then she went to sleep with the wig on, as if we can do that. Like, just bare, no bonnet, no scarf. She didn't lay her edges down. She just went to sleep as if we just have the hair growing out our head. Like, sis, we don't do that with weaves and wigs. You either take it off, or you tie the weave down. You choose, but you cannot just be going to bed willy-nilly with your hair out like that.
And you're on TV. You're on TV.
And you're on TV. So, like, but her physique, she has a nice body, nice shape, she's laying next to him. They probably been drinking a little bit or whatever. Of course, he's gonna oblige. Of course. Like, and then her thing was, well, who has sex with somebody they're not attracted to?
Men,
You don't
Men.
have to be
women might too. I don't
women, men.
know. Yeah,
Yeah, a
everybody,
person doesn't
people.
have to be attracted to you to have sex with you.
Right.
As long as they're able to achieve what they're seeking to achieve,
That's all that
that's all
matters.
they need. They don't care. So it is definitely a self-esteem issue, and I think that, that's why you have to be careful with sex. Because although I have not, you know, fully engaged, there are sexual activities or physical activities that I have and experience that just in that alone, you kiss somebody the right way and you're like, ooh, the way that makes you feel,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, it does make you think like, well, I know if I go over there, or I know if I, sit right here next to him, or I know if I, put my hand here, that's going to let him know he can do X, Y, and Z. So we
Mm-hmm.
use our bodies, we use our, sex appeal and all that to get what we want. If I want affection, we can easily do that as women.
Right.
For men, it's gonna be like that. You look at them and they're like, "You ready?" So it's not like you have to try hard. So I agree, it sex is a strong tool, and that's another reason why I want to be very careful, because it can cloud your judgment. Because like Ebony was saying with Jasmine Sullivan's album Hotels, the girl was like, she referred to as the D. She was like, it was good. And it was so good that I didn't care how I was treated. It was just that good. So he could have called me anything he wanted to call me. He could treat me any kind of way. I could have been the mistress of the mistress. Like, she didn't care her position in his life. She was like, it was good, and I would do anything for it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the power control. But it's not just the power of the sex, but it's the insecurities that she had in not knowing her value.
Mm.
Because if a man is telling you, I'm not attracted to you, like, I think we should get a divorce, and you still there, and then he
Still there.
asks you, like, what do you want? And you're like, I want us to work this out. I want us to try. So you want to force him to like you want to force him now to look at you a different way. Like, you're going to try to force that on him, and then what happens? Because the marriage is not going to last, even
Right.
beyond this. And then the guy is going to stick to that narrative of women. They force us. Well, I didn't want to be married to you. You forced me to marry you. I told you I was attracted to you, but you forced me. That's when I do agree when men say that women force them. I agree
I
with
don't
situations like this.
I don't subscribe to women force them, but I think that a lot of men, to your point, will sleep with women knowing they don't like them and will kind of like dismiss them. But the woman is so like, but because they slept with me, they like me.
Yeah.
Or they, you know, and like try to woo me, they might like me, but most guys just doing it to get what they can get. Like, I think I talked about it on this podcast when I was talking to this guy in college. I remember having a conversation because he had slept with this friend of mine, and I was like, you chose her over me, like, why did you do that? And he was like, well, she was giving it up, so I was taking it.
Mm-hmm.
And what can I say to that? She was giving it up, right? And so, and I wasn't. And so, I mean, that to me, and I knew, though she was giving it up, he didn't want to be with her, you know.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. Because you don't have
unfortunate.
to, like, you can, like, want things, and like you can like things but not want them, you know? But whatever you want, you do like. So, like, because you won't want something that you don't like, But for him, like, he likes the sex, but he doesn't want her, So he can like having sex with you, but not want you. You know what I mean? Because it's not synonymous. Like, I don't feel like liking and wanting is synonymous with each other. And I think that, you have to be in a mature level, in a stage in your mind to understand that there's a difference between the two.
What do you think about him? He keeps saying like, I'm afraid to fall in love with you.
Manipulation.
Yeah, it's
He's playing games.
and she's taking the bait every single
He
time.
has to be getting paid. Like, I have to resort to she's getting paid, or she's like,
Is it that much money in the world to make you look that crazy?
Mm.
yeah, he's playing her. Like, no guys know what they want when they want it, and I'm not gonna go against that narrative at all. I'm a firm believer. When a man wants you, he's gonna do what it takes. He's not gonna play these games like, I'm afraid to love you. I don't know why would you be afraid to love me? Because you're on this show to love someone, right? Like you came
True.
on the show to love. So then why
Mhm.
are you afraid to love me?
And she didn't even think to ask that question.
Didn't
She probably don't want to, because what that means, you hear the truth.
Mm.
man, I tell you. But and then girl, that's a whole. Let me tell you
Oh
that.
yeah, and his pastor.
I ain't seen it all, so
All right, he's not gonna say nothing. He's not gonna say nothing.
don't do no spoiler alerts. But
No,
yeah, so I know that's not what we were originally talking about, but one of you guys said something about the power or something, and it just made me just think about that and how he has such control over her. And it can't be that she loves him. It can't even be that she likes him. It literally to me feels as though it's sex related
yeah,
because that's the only thing that they've actually been able to truly share. Because I don't think they have had time, and I haven't seen the honeymoon either. So I don't think they've had time to really like get to know each other on that level where feelings would be involved at all. It would really have to be a
and when
sexual.
you watch it, you'll see like they haven't spent time together for
Mm-mm.
her to like him. She's doing it like you said, Sierra, for the her religion, and that's why it's the difference between having a religion and a relationship because her religion is
Mm.
making her, feel like you don't even know him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a stranger to you.
Literally.
But she's throwing this title of "You're my husband, you're my husband." No, he's a stranger that happens to be your husband. He's a
Mm-hmm.
stranger first, and then he's your husband because you don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
You met his family once, and
And the family was so rude.
well,
So rude.
except for, I mean, the dad was like, "Oh, but the mom, she wasn't feeling it. She was
Mm-mm.
She
just
wasn't
not here
feeling
for it.
what?
She
She
just
wasn't
wasn't.
feeling the marriage.
Paige, really?
Oh.
Yeah, I think
Like,
because
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think because the conversation that Paige had, with his parents in reference to him having sex with her on their honeymoon, but not liking her, I think that's where it kind of crossed the line for the mom. I think she may not have wanted to have that conversation or felt that that conversation was appropriate to have,
Mm.
which I do feel like I agree because I don't think you have to tell your husband's family like you're having sex multiple. She's like, we've had it not once but multiple times, like multiple times a night. Wake up in the morning, we have sex, like, and it's
She said
like
that?
she said that to his parents. Like
Wow.
why? So the mom is just kind of like, all right, sis.
Well, she said, was he drinking?
That's what his mother asked?
Yes. I would have just fell out. I'd been like, okay, taping
Her
over.
mom, your mother-in-law is saying that you ain't it for my son. She's telling you he was drunk. That's why he had sex with you. Not that he's attracted to you, but she's still not getting to him.
Taping over. And I'm going to
You know
turn this whole
why?
table over.
Well, know why? Because the dad. Because what does the dad say after that? Yeah, that's wrong for him to do that. You're an attractive woman. You got a lot going for you. So then now she's feeling that like, I know, I do. Well, man, I tell you.
And then the baby aspect, because when she was talking to Pastor Kyle, and he was kind of like, well, why are you having like unprotected sex with him? Like, could you be pregnant? And she was like, well, the dad was talking about a honeymoon baby. I'm like, how dumb can you be? Come on. Like, this
Mm.
guy does not want you. You're going to have unprotected sex with him and possibly get pregnant to have a baby to somebody who already does not want you.
Mm, mm,
Does not
mm.
want to be with you, probably is not going to want to take care of your baby. Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
I
Yeah.
feel like we can do like a whole episode on her mindset
Oh my
and
God.
where it could truly be and what is driving that whole situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds crazy. As you guys are talking, I'm like, wait, I ain't see that. I ain't seen none of that. So it
Oh,
just
wait
gets
till you
worse because
watch.
I didn't see any at the beginning. I just saw like one episode. I think I saw one. I think I might have seen two. I haven't seen when I heard that he talks to his baby mama with her.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen that yet. And then, but I've been trying to like fast forward just for when they're on because I don't really care about any of the other couples right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what everyone else talk about.
Right.
So
That's
I'm just
another
like
thing too. Like, is it a type of competition for her? Because the ex fiance is
in the
supposed
picture,
to be with child. So now you're having unprotected sex to do what? To say, well,
one up
you have
her.
your baby. What
Mm,
about me? Are you
mm.
gonna want to stay with me now? Like, it's almost, honestly, yeah, it's delusional, man. I feel bad for Paige. I really do. I feel bad for her if this is really her. If this is not producer induced, because some things too can be induced by the producer. Like
Right.
I feel like the presence of the pastor, and when you watch it, see, I'm not going to tell you, but what he says, I feel like that's really not something that you would just arbitrarily say. So I feel like the producers are playing
Hmm.
a role in this too.
Okay.
So if it's not 100% producer led, I feel bad for Paige that she
Mm-hmm.
feels that she has to put herself out there in this way. And she has these episodes of like, I'm standing up for myself. Like, that's it. I am done. I will not be played. You're not going to have me look like an idiot. And then he asks, like, do you love me? Or he scoots over to her and he whispers in her ear, like, I'm
And
gonna
she
do so.
laughs.
And she's all like laughing and like, oh my God, like, you know? Or she tries to
Mm.
console him and everything is like, I'm your wife. I'm your wife. Talk to me. It's like, are you
Are we, is for real?
stop? Because this is not logical. Like people, logical thinkers would be like, okay, yes, I'm your wife on paper, but I don't know how you process your feelings. So
Mm-hmm.
if you need me, I'll be over here. I'm gonna let you have your time because
Right.
we don't know how people process things. But for her, she wants to be like, I'm your wife, as in we've been together for 10 years, 20 years. So you should feel comfortable with me. Well, he doesn't know you.
Right.
He's not attracted to you. Nothing about you makes him comforted
Mm.
unless you're having sex. So why would you expect him to be like, okay, let me express my love or let me express my emotions to you? There is not an attraction of any kind that he
Mm.
has. So she's really just forcing something for the sake of I came on this show to find love and everybody else around me, their marriage is still intact for now. And I got the short end of the stick, you know, in which
Mm.
I did kind of think that in the beginning, but they're both kind of the same people, which is
Really?
I do want to say one thing. I was watching this podcast and they had Dr. Viviana on it, and so they were like, "How in the world did you guys, as experts, let him come on this TV show when he had already had someone pregnant, had been engaged twice, once within the past 3 months, and you still let him come on the show? Like, how did that happen?" And I don't know if they asked about the engagement part, but they definitely asked like, "How did he get on the show?"
Mm-hmm.
And
What'd she
so
say?
she said that they actually really liked Chris, that he was the number one or top 10, candidate that they really liked. Like he was personable, he was nice. I feel like he kind of probably put on a lot
he
to make
lied.
them and lied to make them like him. But I'm like, the only person that said something was Pastor Kyle, because what he said was Chris would talk about sex a lot. And then Pastor Kyle was like, I don't really like that. That might be a problem, because if that's your only emphasis on things. But
Yeah, I
Mm.
truly
the
think that
other
he
two
lied.
experts liked him. And so
Yeah,
he got on the show. I
I
also
don't think
think
they
he's
were honest.
broke and he be putting on, but that's just me.
I actually got an article. For some reason, my phone will send me like Google articles about things
Mm-hmm.
that I've, looked up. And he's not broke, but his one of his subways did recently close due to COVID. Um, they said he was a very bad owner and he was like yelling at the people and stuff like that. And then plus COVID happened and
Mm-hmm.
they weren't able to make money and all that stuff. But he's not broke. So
Okay,
that's what it
good,
said.
And
good.
he mentioned that too. And I think that's another reason why she wants, because he said that, like on paper, like, but there was a comment that, and I don't know if this was in the first episode that you had seen Sierra, but Paige had asked the question of paying the bills. And she
Mm-mm.
was like, you think we would spend 50-50 on the bills or whatever? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, but you make like 50 times more than me. Why would we go half on the bills? So in my mind, I'm thinking,
Mm.
was a financial question not asked by the experts to candidates? Because finances is probably one of the number one reasons for divorce, if not, outside
Mm-hmm.
of infidelity. So my mind is, were they honest when they answered these questions? Because I can't believe that the experts didn't ask about finances. How do y'all budget? Like,
That that was an issue in another season, and it was during the honeymoon. And I remember it was a black couple. I think they from Philadelphia,
mhm.
and they were sitting at dinner, 2nd day or something like that. And that was the actual question. And he was like, yeah, we're going to go half. And she's like, no, I think that a man should pay for everything. I shouldn't have to pay for anything. And so I don't think the experts go into that level of detail, because I think they allow the couple to figure it out, because there's going to have to be concessions in any relationship. So they're not going to want to fix it where like that's your true perfect match and there's no,
But
there's
my thing
nothing.
is that's like that's a major, you go from like saying, okay, I take the electricity bill, utilities, you take the insurance, the car insurance bill, you know what I'm saying? That goes from like who's doing what to like she thinks, oh, as a female, I shouldn't pay for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're the man. That is big,
They got
versus saying
divorced.
like you do 50% and I do, or you do 70 and I do 30 type deal. But like I feel like when they answer those questions, I feel like they state their point, but they're a little general too. Like, well, I feel like, we should go half and half, but I'm willing to, work it out with whatever my partner wants. But that's going to be contingent upon how you feel about your partner. So Chris
Exactly.
says 50-50, but he's saying that because he doesn't like her. Because I'm sure if it was a woman that he was attracted to and he liked, he'd be like, don't worry about it, baby. I got you. You don't got to worry about nothing. You keep
Right.
me.
That is,
I'll make sure my stuff is paid for. That's how I feel.
I thought he was
I agree.
broke too, because he did speak about like when she was like, "Oh, my family gave me money for us when we got married, so I'll bring it." And then I think he asked, "Was it cash?" And she said yes. And he was like, "Oh, we'll split that." And I'm like, if you have like, why do you want to split it? But she did say, "Well, we're married, so why would we split it?"
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I
what
see
I
that
was
point.
kind of like, well, maybe he is a little broke, like, because if you have money, why are you worried about someone giving you cash? I'm pretty sure it's not anything significant.
Because he ain't about her. He's the opportunist. Chris is,
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, we're gonna have to like have this deep conversation about their whole situation, because it even goes into some colorism and
yep,
how she may feel about herself because of her shade, and then how his usual type of woman is fairer skin and more European look and all of that stuff. So there's so much just in the dynamic of their, I want to say relationship, but it's not even really a
their
relationship, but
contract.
their contract. Good. Their contract.
Contract.
There's a lot we could even talk about. But just to kick it off just a little bit, how we started today about how the power of sex and how it can make you be in relationships and contracts and
Yeah,
situationships you should never even be in, just because you've allowed that person to enter your space
yeah. Because I feel like if Paige would have waited,
more than just
she
the
would
first
have,
night.
yeah, I feel like if she would have waited, because the other couple, I forget her name, he's the one that's like the super 80s guru. I forget their name, but they
Oh,
waited because she's not attracted to him, but she didn't have sex with him. And he obviously is attracted to her and he won't have sex with her, but she waited, because she just wasn't there. And I feel like if Paige would have waited, they would have been able to have more of a verbal dialogue about things. And I feel like
mm-hmm.
she would have been able to really make a decision on a more clear mindset. I mean, I know she desperately wanted to still be married, but I
Right.
feel like it wouldn't have been as hard because she also is dealing now with the fact of like, I gave myself to him. Like, I feel bad at myself that so now she's dealing with guilt. So now she feels like, well, I might as well just keep doing it. He's my husband. And I think her saying he's my husband gives her some type of solace of what she did,
Mm-hmm.
versus it just being like, girl, it's all right. Like, you have sex with him. Don't let that drive you. You can get out while you can. Like,
Well, we're gonna get off this topic, but I will say some things that he asked during the after they got married made me be like, why are you asking that question? So I probably would have not have slept with him just based on that, and kind of waited a little bit just to get to know him a little bit more. But everybody's different, so
yeah,
that's on that.
Mm.
But back to abstaining
yeah.
from sex.
All the reasons, some reasons why you should. Definitely good reasons.
So I know that we're getting towards the end of this
Mhm.
this episode. So what would you guys want to tell, one thing that you want to share with people who are either abstaining or have always abstained or are thinking of possibly making that life-changing decision? Like, what's one little nugget you want to leave the people with?
Okay, so mine is probably not a good one, but I'm gonna spin it to be a good one. It's not a fairy tale, right? You know, we think that you are going to meet this great guy in the midst of, you know, think about one of the fairy tales. You meet this guy, he's Prince Charming, and you ride off into the sunset. That's not how life works. And so I think when you make a decision to be abstinent, you have to make it for reasons that will sustain you and not just off a whim. And so just note that it might take you a little bit longer and it might not end up being the fairy tale that everybody says it is going to be just because you're Christian.
It's good.
Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna say. I was gonna say just make sure you know the reason why you are abstaining. That's what's gonna keep you. So if you know why you're doing it, that's what's gonna allow you to maintain the course. So you just gotta do it for you.
Can I throw in one last thing too? And I say this probably on any podcast that I even talk about the fact that I'm a virgin and I'm abstaining from marriage. If y'all catch me in the streets and it's a year from now and 2 years from now and I have changed my mind, note that I have just changed my mind. I'm subject to change my mind at any point. That's all.
I just want to say that though, like you always throw that disclaimer, but it's like it's your decision anyway. So whether you tell them, hey, I'm right now on this day, I'm saying I'm a virgin, but if I decide tomorrow I'm not gonna be a virgin anymore, that's your business. You ain't got to get no disclaimer to these folks.
But I think because when you're Christian and when you are telling people that you're waiting, they be sometimes hold you to like a high standard. And the minute you don't meet their criteria, they're like, oh, she not waiting no more. Maybe she like, like just no, I'm human and I'm subject to change my mind. But you're right, Sierra.
It's your body. Yeah. Right. Tell them to kick rocks.
That's why you gotta know why you're doing it.
Right.
If it's faith-based, then you're doing it for God. If it's a personal decision, then you're doing it for you. If it's a corporate decision, like in terms of like your family, you're doing it because that's your family structure and that's how they were all done it. So I'm just gonna do it. So that's why again, you just have to know why you're doing those things. So that way, whatever decision makes, not that people should be in your bedroom anyway, but if it comes out, this is the decision that I made for these reasons. You know what I mean? Like sex obviously is not the only thing that makes somebody be like, oh, you said you were Christian and you're not a Christian. Like that's a whole nother,
a whole nother episode.
So I just say know your foundation, why you're doing it, and stick with it. Like I feel like that's what's kept me is I'm just like, I know why I'm decided to wait and I just try to do my best. It's hard though, y'all. It will be difficult, people. And if y'all out here community, hit me up.
Yes, DM us, get to know us because there's not a lot of us out there, and especially over the age of 30. I think again, when you're in your 20s, it's easier to be like, yeah, I'm a virgin, blah blah blah. But when you reach 30, you're not kind of telling everybody all the time. You're like, am I really over 30 and still waiting? And so I think that you have to come to terms with that too. And I know that
I met more people that would wait. Like I wish I met them because then it would give. I think for me, my problem isn't solely just like, oh, I want to have sex, but it's just I'm not meeting people that are willing to wait. Like that's my thing is like I just want to meet the people because even when I meet people who are in our community, we may not vibe, so I may not be with you, but at least I know that I'm not fighting against that battle of the sex clock. You know what I mean? Like I'm not having to worry about is this not going to work because he wants to have sex and I don't type deal because that's what I run into. So it's almost like I just wish I could meet people that are willing to genuinely wait until marriage. And I feel like if we did, this whole dating would be different. Like we can't really fully date people because I know for me, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like,
so when you gonna be trying to have sex? Like
when do you want to have sex? Or, now I gotta, obviously I'm not like, how many shots when I'm a virgin? Like I don't do that, but it's like, if you know that the person is not like that, it makes it so much easier. Because there are people who are sexually active, but they still wait.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I do have sex, but I have a 90-day window. I got a, 6-month minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like people do have their parameters even when they are, sexually active. So
since you mentioned that, boundaries is key too, I found. or no. That boundaries is key. So for me as an adult, one boundary that I put in place is like, and this is for safety as well as for the sex purpose, but not really letting, this is probably bad, not really letting guys in my apartment like that. And let me tell you why. It's because like once you get in my space, I feel like my space is where that's an intimate setting. We're now in close quarters. This is somewhere I feel safe, and a lot can happen. And then I have to really trust you to let you into my space for safety purposes. So I put in little boundaries like that, or not talking after a certain time. But I think also when you feel really comfortable around somebody, even those boundaries fall a little bit.
Yeah, they do. You're absolutely right.
So it depends on the person.
Yeah.
But I do think if we can find a community of more people, because even when I try to talk to it about it with friends who are having sex, they're like, "Girl, if I could have waited, I would have waited." Or if I my first time wasn't that great, but then it's a difference talking to somebody who, you know, they've already had sex or saying they wish they would have waited versus someone that's waiting. That's totally different mindset.
I'm going to DM y'all like as soon as we get off of here. I got y'all. You could start there, and then you can network from that.
All right. I'm with it, sis. Thank you.
You're welcome, girlfriend.
Yeah, I did want to have one question, and this is for parents who are maybe trying to navigate that space of um, having their kid, you know, wear a promise ring, because I know that you had one, Jocelyn. And I used to wear a little fake one, but it wasn't really a promise ring. I just wear it on my little marriage ring finger for no reason. But do you think that parents should make their kid wear a purity ring, or this is something that the kid should come to the conclusion of?
So I actually started wearing mine, or I guess when I first wore it, I was an adult, like I was in college. And it was something that I just wanted to do. But then
Okay.
I actually don't wear it anymore because someone was like, I think my mom actually,
Mhm.
like, it's on your ring finger. People gonna think you're married if they see this ring. And people would say that. So I I don't know if, I mean, I guess it's just a preference, you know? I don't know if it's really like, uh, I think the only problem with wearing purity rings is that people could think you're married. And
Mm-hmm.
because people don't know them, you know it like that to that degree. And if people, most men, if they are of most men of integrity, if they see a ring on a woman's finger, they're gonna steer clear. Just like most women of integrity, you look at a man, they look good, and you look at their hand, they got a ring there. You're like,
You'd be like, dang,
yep.
Mhm.
But it could be a promise ring. You don't even know. You know what I'm saying? It could
it's
be
a
their
killer. It's
sponsors
a
ring. It
killer.
could be, I don't know. But we stay clear. So I think that is definitely something that both the child and the parent should have a decision on. If, I'm sure it's probably more accepting when they're young, while they're in like high school, middle school. But I
Right.
think once they get older, I feel like you probably shouldn't, because it can be confusing.
Yeah, and then I feel like sometimes it's a little weird because parents be like, "Well, you said you're gonna wait." And I'm like, "Who can?" Yeah, I mean, somebody probably said that at 15, but then they get 18, 20, they might not want to wait, and so you can't really hold them to that. So that's something that scares me too, is the parents that try to make the decision for the kid versus the kid making the decision for themselves.
Yeah,
Right.
But yeah,
yeah,
that's my only question because I know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's real. I think anytime, I think educating is what's most important. So, and that's with anything, anytime you force a child to do anything, it's it's more, they're more liable to go against it once they have the opportunity. Because
Right.
you're not
Yeah.
educating them on why. Like,
The why
tell them
is
not to have
important.
sex, but tell them why. Like, hey, like, these are the reasons why you should. You could get a girl pregnant. You could get pregnant. You could get disease. You could get emotionally attached. And then
Mm-hmm.
you want to carry a razor in the back of your tongue. And then when they get upset, you want to slip it out and cut. My friend did that in
Too
eighth
far, too
grade.
far, too far, too
In
far.
eighth grade, she literally kept the razor underneath her tongue and she took it out and she cut her boyfriend because they was having problems.
Mm-mm. Mm.
I'm telling you,
Okay.
That's a lot. That's a lot right
it,
there.
it's a lot. So you gotta be real. But yeah, thank y'all for having me. I was
Yeah.
excited. I was like, oh, I'm excited to come back on the show.
And we can talk about this all day. So,
I love y'all.
Oh, we love you too.
heart. Oh, I can't even do a heart. There it is.
Yeah. Now with your nails, gotta bring it in.
And the heart on my sweatshirt. This way.
Oh, that's cute.
So yeah, again, thank you for coming. Thank you for having this conversation. We're sure there's some listeners out here that can relate, and who happen to possibly may have a question or two. How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram at JINEZ as in zebra, C as in Charlie. That's my Instagram name. My page is public. So yeah, I'm an open book. So you can
Okay,
ask.
public.
Mm-hmm.
Made a page public now. Okay.
Yeah, it's public now. Sometimes I kind of wish it wasn't, but
Yeah, I ain't crossing that line yet. Mine will stay private because I ain't got time for the foolishness. Okay, but
it's hard when you want to try to like create like a social media presence, and you're like doing live, and people are like, "Oh, I can't get on it." They share with their friends like, "You're private." So I don't know, but comes with the territory. I guess.
it'd be like that. I get it. I understand. All right. Well, if you want to reach out to either of us, you know where to find us. I am at Raven with 2 N's with love, Raven with love, and Ebony is where?
At Ebony Diaz and David Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
and that is on Instagram.
And you can always reach us at The Real Play Podcast on Instagram or The Real Play Podcast at gmail.com if you want to send us an email. Leave us a voice note on Anchor. Let us know what you thought about this episode. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you just want to tell us about your life and your experience with being abstinent, or even your experience not being abstinent and possibly losing your virginity. It's, no judgment zone. We're all in different walks of life. So share it with us. We're here to listen.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us.
Yes. Till next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.